Hey guys, Cristin live back here. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I can tomatoes in mason jars. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Today, I'm going to use these 4-ounce jars. Normally, I would probably use the larger ones, maybe an 8-ounce or even 16-ounce. But these are the ones I have right now, and I have tomatoes that I need to process. So I do not have a canner. I use a water bath method, and what I've done is taken 4 of this size and taken the ring and the actual jar and put them in the boiling water for about 20 minutes to make sure that they're fully sanitized. Now that my jars have come out of the boiling water, I'm going to flip them up this way. I'm using tongs. That is not a suggested method, only because you can severely burn yourself. Now this is a clean cutting board, and I have rinsed all of my tomatoes, if you can see here. The only other thing you're going to need besides your jars and some proper canning jar holders is some citric acid or lemon juice or vinegar and some canning and pickling salt, or you can use regular salt. The canning and pickling salt is just a more refined version. So if you can find that, that's great. It actually has a longer shelf life, but salt in general has a pretty long shelf life, so you should be good to go. So what we're going to do is start by taking off the tops here, which some will come off easier than others. And let me grab my knife, and basically I'm just going to cut this part off because it's got a little bit of a bruise in it, and then I'm just going to basically score or put an X on the tomato. I've got boiling water over here in a separate pan, and I'm going to put each of the tomatoes in that for about 30 seconds-ish or so. And then I've got a pan of ice water to put them in. So I'm going to do about 4 at a time, so the same when it comes to how long they've been in the boiling water. You do not have to cut the tops off of these before you score them. It's just a habit that I've always done. That's how my grandmother taught me, so that's how I do it. If you don't want to do it that way, by all means, do it however you would like to do it. Alright, so I've got my 4 now that are scored, so I'm just going to go ahead and put those in the boiling water. And you really want it to cover pretty much the whole tomato. I'm going to add a little bit of water to that, and I'll be right back. Sipping in for about 30-40 seconds. I'm just going to remove them and put them in the ice bath with a slotted spoon to get some of the hot water out. Okay. I'm going to turn those a little bit because it's not quite covered. My ice machine, because I've been using a lot of ice here lately, is a little lacking. I went ahead and made the X on these 2, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'm going to show you on these baby grape or tomato cherries. I just do 1 slit, and there is a reason for that, and I do it on the bottom, on the opposite side of where the stem attaches. And I do that because if you do a full splice, like an X on the larger ones, they tend to kind of become too mushy, and that makes it hard to get the skin off without just having like a ball of tomato guts all over you, and then you kind of lose a lot of the tomato that you want to actually be canning. I'm not exactly sure because every tomato here is a little bit of a different size, and you never really know how many will it take depending on the jar size, but I have more jars if I need them. And I can also make a little tomato paste and put it in a jar and put it in the refrigerator for a future meal, as long as it's made within about a week. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put all of these in the boiling water. Oh, lost one. All right. And we'll wait 30 to 40 seconds. And all of these scraps will go in my composting bin, which I will make an updated video on because my compost is just about ready. Alright, so it's been just almost about 30 seconds. The water stopped boiling for a minute because I put these cold tomatoes in. The grape and cherry tomatoes don't need nearly as long in the hot bath, clearly, because of their size. Larger tomatoes I leave in for about 45 seconds. I have a larger little ladle, slotted ladle, but can't seem to find it. I also have the proper canning tool to pull the jars out of the hot water bath that we're going to put them in when we're done, but I can't find those either. So, story of my life. I can't seem to ever find much of anything. So, let's put these in the ice bath. We'll give them a few seconds to cool so that we can actually hold them and not burn ourselves, and then I'll show you the next step. Alright, so the tomatoes that were in the water bath are ready. And I've started a few of these babies because they take a little while and I don't want to bore you guys, but basically you'll get a sharper knife than the one I'm using at the moment, and you're just going to remove the top where it's connected to the vine, and then they slide off pretty easily. But let me try a different knife and see if I have better results here. I need to sharpen my knives. That is for sure. Okay, and I've got my little compost bag here so that as I go, I can kind of add the scraps to it. You can also save the peelings, and a lot of people throw them away, and I think that's a waste, but you know, totally up to you, no judgment. But instead of throwing them away, compost them or put them in a puree and make a paste out of them, or you know, do something to utilize them. Because if you're doing this from your own garden, you took all of that time to grow the tomato, and you really don't want to lose any part of it if possible, especially when you're trying, if you're trying to become more I can't talk today. If you're trying to become more self-sustainable. I need new knives. Oh my Lord, this is terrible. Okay. Let me try one more, and then I guess I'm just going to have to sharpen one. Alright. Let me pause this for a minute and sharpen my knives. Come to the point that I realize I definitely need new knives because my sharpener is just not doing it for me anymore. This is a little better, but not great. So, we'll just kind of try to get through this. If anybody's feeling super kind and wants to send me some new knives, even one really good paring knife that I could sharpen would be amazing. Oops, I've already cut these. So the nice thing about the larger ones, they are easier to peel. And then because I'm using such small jars, I'm actually going to cut them into smaller pieces. Don't judge my knife skills. They're definitely not the best. Okay, and I'm going to make a big mess because I forgot to put my tray down there. I don't know if you guys watched any of my other videos, but this house was purchased 10 days before Hurricane Michael hit, and we knew it needed some repair, but we didn't really, I think, realize how much repair. This house was starting to go under a major renovation, and then got put on hold because of the hurricane. So that is why I'm missing some covered doors. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. We need new plumbing, new electrical, pretty much new everything. But I'm trying to keep the cabinets white as I can. So with that said, if you haven't seen any of my videos, that is the condition it's in at the moment. When I am able to, I would like to update some stuff. We need a new air conditioning unit, or HVAC, however you want to say it. And we've got some leaks in the roof. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm happy, healthy. I've got a roof over my head. My kids and I have food. And part of the reason, because of the pandemic, is that I prepped ahead of time. I have chickens. I've got a full garden. I compost. I do as much as I can to be as self-reliant as I can for when things like this happen and the world just kind of goes on its side and people are lost. And I feel blessed that I'm able to just feed my kids and live somewhat off the land, not fully, not at all, but I'm trying and I'm making the best of it, and I just feel very blessed and happy that I have the ability to do that. Alright, as they sit in the water longer, they are going to get messier, as you can see, but that's okay because the extra juices in the jar just give it better flavor, and the longer it sits in there, the better it tastes. Tomatoes are one of those things that the longer that they're cooked and the longer that they're canned, they actually are better for you. I really don't know of any other vegetable that has that same quality as a tomato. So let me go ahead and wash my hands and I'll show you the next step. My jars in the boiling water to make sure they're hot, because when you put the ingredients of whatever you're canning into the jars and you put them into the boiling water, if they're not similar temperature, they very well could crack. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take one that's not slotted, which a lot of people use a funnel. However, that's usually for like paste or tomato sauce. You can't put tomato chunks through a funnel. So what I'm going to do here is I've got a little bit of the tomato. I'm going to add a little bit of onion. You need to add about in these smaller jars, I can't find my measuring spoons either. I don't know where half of my stuff is in this place, but it could not even be here. Anyway, like an eighth of a teaspoon maybe of citric acid. And then you want to do just a little bit of canning salt. About the same, I guess, maybe a tad bit more. And then we're going to go in with more of the tomato and a little bit more garlic. Okay, now I just washed my hands, but you can use a straw or a knife or anything like that to get air pockets out, so you make sure you get it in there as well as you can. And then you want to make sure that you leave about a 1/4 inch of headspace, which we're getting pretty close to, so I'm just going to add just a little bit more. And then you want to make sure that you properly dry the rim so that it can, the lid can attach properly. I'm just going to do one to show you right now. I've heard these days they make the lids to where you don't have to heat them up. I've always done it, so I'm going to do that just for like 30 seconds. I don't know if it's necessary, but I figure, you know, like if something's working, it's not broke, why fix it? So I'm just going to let that warm up for a minute. And then when I'm done with the video, I'll continue with my others. I just want to give you guys an idea of how I do this. So, like I said, I have very clean washed hands. I'm going to go ahead and stick the ring on here just finger tight. And then you're just going to gently set it in the boiling water. Depending on the size of your jar, this 4-ounce jar is going to be about 20 minutes. Anything larger than that, I would start at 30 minutes and go up from there. Of course, you can Google and do your own research. I am not a master canner by any means of the imagination, so make sure you do your own research, but this is how I've done it. I've never experienced botulism. I've never experienced anyone getting sick, and I feel like I do all of the process very safely so that when we do open one of these jars to use in the future, that it's actually usable. Because I spent a lot of time and money and effort in making these vegetables, and when I jar them or can them, I want to make sure that we're able to use them in the future. So I will come back when this is done and show you guys how to know that it's properly sealed. Okay, so I've just removed all the jars from the boiling water bath, and I went ahead and put some cloths over them to keep them warm so that they can continue to process. And then when you hear the pop, you know you're good to go. Now, no one's going to sit there, or at least I don't have time to sit there and wait for it to pop. It could take minutes, hours, a day or two. But what you can do is, you probably can't hear that. This one's already done it, but the ones that push in, they're not done yet. So once the pressure's built up and you can't push them in, like this one's not pushing, but these are, probably can't hear that, but then you're going to remove the seals from the jar, not the lid, but the actual, well, seal is like this. And what you want to do is hold it from this lid, and if it doesn't fall apart, you know that it's properly sealed, whereas this one did. So you kind of like give it a little shake, but just hold it from this. And then you want to remove this, because if there's any kind of contents or ingredients that are left there, it can cause bacteria, which is botulism, which will make you extremely sick. So I hope you guys got some good info from this. I'm planning on doing a lot more videos. I know I've been MIA. It's been the quarantine. It's just been kind of crazy trying to homeschool the kids. And we got a new puppy. We got a, what do they call it? Not self-defense. It's like a guard dog, but it's like basically to protect yourself. Maybe a self-protection dog? I don't know. You guys leave in the comments if you know. But I will see you guys again soon. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the video. Until next time, I'll see y'all later.